Alrighty, here's how I made $685 trading NASDAQ futures on April 28th, 2025. So, I woke up late this morning and about 15, 16, 17 minutes into market open because I wake up and I see prices all the way up here. You know, it's a pretty vicious open. And the first thing I always mark out, obviously, I marked out these relatively equal lows. That was really my bias. That's the first thing I marked out as soon as I opened up my computer, even though I was late. And I mark out a first presented fair value gap. Always first presented fair value gap. And from my experience, as long as there's no tariff news on the day or any crazy news, if we have reasonable price action, price always, not always, but very often returns back to the first presented fair value gap. Very, very often. So this is a tool I always use. Now, I obviously got on my computer when price was all the way up here. So I missed that first presented fair value gap, that inverse of the first presented fair value gap, going all the way up, taking out the Friday high. But obviously, I know it took out this liquidity and rode it a little bit higher. I didn't even look back to see if there was any highs higher than this. But I knew, as long as there's no crazy tariff news or anything, it's going to return back to this first presented fair value gap. And so, knowing this, I could have marked out any of these fair value gaps, but I really thought this was just way too aggressive of an open, that price was going to come down and give us something, a much better entry down here, a much more high confidence trade for my style. So I waited for it to return, just took a couple candles, couple minutes, and it returns to that first presented fair value gap. And as soon as I saw it get real heavy here at the bottom and this candle even opened down here, I immediately entered. Not the best fill, but still rode it, targeting these relatively equal lows. If you're in ICT's Telegram, he pointed out that 19,471 looked doable. He was obviously right, and if you looked at today's price action, you saw it went a lot lower. But I rode it, and it was literally 1, 2, 3, not even 3 full candles. I took profit a little early, making $685. And yeah, that was that. It was an easy trade. These new week opening gaps, I have those marked, but we didn't do anything with those today. Just a little thing I always have marked for every week. But we kept it nice and simple today. And you see here, goes down, takes out those relatively equal lows, comes back, a little bit of drawdown, consolidates, gets close to that take profit. I kept the take profit around. I like to keep it outside of the fair value gap. Some people would say keep it, there's the 3 candle, 1, 2, and 3 of the fair value gap. Keep it above the 3rd candle, and some would even say the wick. That's way too much drawdown for me to be able to take at the wick, but I kept it around, just slightly 2 ticks or so above the body of that, above the close of that 3rd candle, the top 3rd candle, on that sell side imbalance, buy side inefficiency, or bearish fair value gap, however you want to say it. And would have caught a little heat there, but we would have still been in it. You see 1 trade down, you could have gotten out, targeting those lows, seen this, completely filling that fair value gap. You could have said, hey, let me get in again. Obviously, that's not how I trade. If I got that trade, I'm in and out. But it hits again and again, taking out those lows, and on that 3rd one, finally busts through, and obviously falls off a cliff for today. Pretty crazy to the downside. Price eventually recovers. But this first presented fair value gap, this is what I always use, and I drew it all the way out to here. You see price doesn't re-enter it until 250 again. Obviously completely blows through it and then dumps again. But this first presented fair value gap, this is my bread and butter. This is what I use every day. It's really what I base 95% of my trades around, as long as there is return to it and it shows respecting it. If not, I just have to move on and find other confluences and other methods to get in at good value, but this is really a bread and butter trade setup for me. Took out these Friday highs. We know it's coming down. We know if it gets close to here, we have a good chance for an entry. Takes out 34.5 handles. I mean, perfect. It really doesn't get much easier than that. 0 drawdown essentially on this trade. I mean, not a single candle closed that wasn't a red candle, or black candle in my case. But yeah, that's it. And for full transparency, I'm trading a Take Profit Pro account right now, so I did pass the funded, and this is a good little boost, getting me to that $3,000 buffer, so I can start taking payouts hopefully soon. But yeah, so this is not a live account, but it is a pro funded account, however you want to look at it. I don't consider that live. Obviously, it is not my own capital, but just for full transparency, this is a funded account. If y'all want a short version of my trade recaps, you can always go to my Twitter. You see it here, Gilly Trades. I post my trade recaps basically every day, but just earlier in the morning, usually before lunchtime. And I just get them in. Obviously, I don't have a lot of followers right now, but Gilly, at Gilly_trades, at Gilly_trades. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you all have a great day.